The sun was beginning to set when I arrived at the park, and the golden light filtered through the trees, creating an almost magical scene. The aroma of freshly cut grass and blooming flowers filled the air, while a gentle breeze made the leaves dance. I had prepared everything with such care for this picnic, and the anticipation of seeing Emily made me anxious. She had always been the light of my days, and at that moment, the idea of spending a few hours with her, away from daily worries, seemed ideal. Everything was laid out on a checkered blanket that I spread over the grass. A basket with sandwiches, fresh fruits, and even a bit of wine. When I finally saw her approaching, my heart raced. Emily looked stunning, as always, in a light dress that danced in the wind. Her brown hair shimmered in the evening light, and her green eyes seemed to sparkle even more. "Hi, Jake." She smiled, and my whole world lit up. "This looks amazing. I made it all with great care just for you," I replied, pulling her into a tight hug. The warmth of her body enveloped me, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. We sat on the blanket and began to devour what I had prepared. Amid laughter and playful banter, we talked about our dreams and plans for the future. I remembered how Emily wanted to travel the world, experience new cultures, and explore places we only saw in pictures. "One day, we're going to do that, you know," I said, looking into her eyes. "We'll grab our backpacks and head out." "I would love that," she replied, her enthusiasm shining through. "But don't forget that you need to learn to cook better if we want to survive that adventure." We laughed together, and I couldn't help but admire how she lit up everything around her. In that moment, the idea of being with her forever seemed not just a dream, but a tangible reality. The conversation flowed naturally, and as the sun set, we shared our worries and hopes. I spoke about my desire to do something meaningful with my life, to leave a mark on the world. Emily listened attentively, as she always did, and I felt she was my biggest supporter. "You can do it, Jake. You have an amazing heart, and you're very talented," she said, holding my hand. "I will always be by your side." The connection between us was palpable. It was as if the universe had conspired for us to be there, in that moment, and I couldn't ask for anything more. After a while, we decided to take a walk in the park. The sky was now painted with shades of pink and orange, and the shadows of the trees stretched across the ground. We walked hand in hand, and I felt on top of the world. "Have you ever thought about what our life together will be like?" I asked, trying to fish a little more about what she thought. "Yes, many times." She stopped, looking at the horizon. "I want to have a house full of laughter and love. And maybe some kids running around." "Kids?" I laughed, a bit surprised. "You're already thinking about that?" "Of course," she replied, with a mischievous smile. "But not now, Jake. First, we need to explore the world and live a little, don't you think?" "I completely agree. Let's do it," I said, squeezing her hand. The future seemed so bright and full of possibilities. After the picnic, we decided to go to a local bar. I had always liked going there, especially because it was a place where many of our friends gathered. When we arrived, I noticed the atmosphere was lively. The live music created a vibrant ambience, and I saw Ryan, my best friend, sitting at a table with some other acquaintances. "Look who's here," he shouted when he saw us. "The most beautiful couple in town. Come on, join us." Smiling, we walked over to his table. The energy among us was contagious, and soon we were all laughing and chatting. Ryan always had a way of uplifting the people around him. He was the kind of guy who could make anyone feel welcome and at ease. "How was your day?" he asked, taking a sip of his beer. "It was wonderful," Emily replied, her eyes sparkling. "Jake took me on a beautiful picnic in the park." "A picnic?" Ryan made a playful face. "So, you're trying to impress her, Jake?" "I just wanted something special, you know," I replied, trying not to sound shy. Life is too short not to do things like this. The conversation continued, and for a while, everything seemed perfect. I laughed at jokes and stories, and I felt grateful to have such wonderful people around me. However, there was something in the way Ryan looked at Emily that made me a little uneasy. It was just a fleeting feeling, and I quickly convinced myself it was just my imagination. After a few hours, I decided it was time to head home. As I said goodbye to Emily, I felt a wave of happiness. The day had been incredible, and the connection between us seemed to grow stronger. I'm so glad we spent this time together, Jake. You always know how to make everything feel special, she said, gently touching my face. And you're the reason for that. I replied, giving her a soft kiss. I can't wait for our next date. With a smile on my lips, I left the bar and went home. The night was calm, and I felt at peace. However, that tranquility would soon be interrupted in a way I could never imagine. The next morning, while I was having my coffee, my phone buzzed. It was an anonymous message. Watch out for what you can't see. Emily is with a close friend. My heart raced in my chest, and a cold sensation ran down my spine. What did that mean? For a moment, I thought about ignoring the message. Maybe it was just a prank, something that didn't deserve my attention. But the idea that something was wrong wouldn't let me rest. I decided I needed to confront Emily. After all, she was the woman I loved, and I needed to know the truth. With a heavy heart, I called her and suggested we meet. When we got together, her smile made me feel a bit more at ease, but the doubts still lingered. Hi, Jake, she said, hugging me. What happened? I hesitated for a moment, but the need to know the truth was stronger. I need to talk to you about something. I received a message, and it left me worried. She frowned, and the expression on her face changed. What was it? She asked, her voice a little tense. An anonymous message that says you're with a close friend. What does that mean, Emily? She looked me in the eyes, and for a moment, the world around us seemed to stop. Jake, it's not what you think. I'm not with anyone. But the doubt had been planted, and what I didn't know was that this conversation was just the beginning of a journey that would change everything I believed about love, friendship, and loyalty. I couldn't get the image of the anonymous message out of my head. Those words echoed in my mind like a dark mantra. Emily is with a close friend. What should have been an ordinary day turned into a storm of doubts and insecurities. Since I received that text, I started to observe Emily with a more critical eye, noticing details that had previously gone unnoticed. Small gestures, subtle changes in her behavior, everything now seemed loaded with meaning. That morning, while she was getting ready for work, I watched her from a distance, hidden behind the wall of our bedroom. Emily was so focused, fixing her hair and choosing the perfect outfit. Part of me wanted to believe that everything was fine, that it was just a phase. But another part told me that I needed to know the truth. With a heavy sigh, I decided I needed to investigate further. At work, the routine felt even more unbearable than usual. My brain, once filled with ideas and projects, was now consumed by a single question. What's going on with Emily? I found myself analyzing every message she received, every call she took. There was a sparkle in her eyes when she got a notification, and it left me uneasy. The truth is, I didn't want to become a detective, but anxiety was consuming me. That night, while we were having dinner, I couldn't help but notice that she seemed distant. The laughter we used to share was now scarce, and the conversation, which once flowed naturally, was filled with uncomfortable silences. I decided to casually ask about her day. So, how was your day? I asked, trying to keep a light tone. Oh, it was normal. Lots of meetings, you know how it is, she replied, looking away and fiddling with her food. Her response sounded evasive. It wasn't the kind of answer I expected from someone who was in love, or at least cared. The discomfort grew in my chest like a shadow I couldn't shake off. After dinner, while she went to the bathroom, my phone vibrated. It was a message from Sarah, a dear friend who had always been by my side. "Hey, Jake. What are you doing?" The idea of venting to her occurred to me suddenly. Sarah always had a way of seeing things clearly. "Hey, Sarah. Actually, I'm at home. Emily, well, I've noticed some strange things," I wrote, hesitating a bit before sending. "Strange how?" she replied quickly. Telling her about the anonymous message and Emily's behavioral changes made me feel a weight lifting. It was like I was sharing a burden I had been carrying alone. "Jake, you need to investigate this. If you feel like something is wrong, maybe you're not far from the truth," Sarah advised. "I know, but what do I do? I don't want to be that guy who suspects without reason," I said, my voice choking. "Sometimes we need to be a bit smarter. Trust your instincts. And if you need help, I'm here." The conversation with Sarah ignited a fire within me. I needed to act, but how? The night passed slowly, and I couldn't sleep. The faces of Emily and Ryan danced in my mind, and the idea of confronting them felt increasingly inevitable. In the days that followed, I began to pay attention to everything. Emily was always on her phone and frequently went out to meet friends. I tried not to be paranoid, but every time I saw her smile at her phone screen, my heart raced. My stomach churned. What was she hiding? One night, I gathered my courage and decided I needed to follow Emily. The plan was simple. I would keep my distance so she wouldn't notice. Adrenaline coursed through my veins as I prepared. I put on simple clothes and waited for her to leave. She looked beautiful, as always, but there was something different in her gaze, a kind of excitement that kept me on alert. As soon as she left the house, I followed her, keeping a safe distance. My heart raced with every step she took. Following her was like watching a horror movie. I didn't know what to expect, but every second was agonizing. After a few minutes, she entered a restaurant. The name sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember exactly why. With a knot in my throat, I decided to go in as well, looking for a place where I could see them without being noticed. I chose a table in the corner, far enough away so they couldn't see me. The restaurant was brightly lit, and the atmosphere was relaxed. People were chatting and laughing around me, but I could barely hear. All my attention was focused on what was happening at the table in front of me. And then I saw Ryan. My world seemed to stop. He approached Emily, and the smile she gave him was something I had never seen before. It was a smile full of intimacy, something I thought was only mine. The conversation between them seemed lively, and the way they looked at each other made me feel a deep emptiness in my stomach. What I was witnessing was more than a betrayal. It was the breaking of something I believed to be unbreakable. My heart shattered at the sight of their closeness, and I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could see there was a connection that shouldn't exist. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up, but my legs felt heavy. I needed to get out of there, needed air. As soon as I left the restaurant, a wave of pain and confusion hit me like a tsunami. The pain was unbearable. I walked through the deserted streets, not knowing where to go. The city, which used to feel so welcoming, now seemed strange and hostile. The city lights flickered, reflecting my despair. I couldn't believe that the betrayal was happening right before my eyes, that my world had been invaded by lies and disloyalties. Finally, I sat on a park bench, a few blocks from home. Tears began to slide down my face. How could this have happened? How did I not notice before? Questions piled up in my mind, and the most painful answer was that I had trusted too much. It was then that my phone vibrated again. It was Sarah. "Jake, are you okay? Where are you?" The sound of the message brought me a bit of comfort, and I knew I needed to talk to someone. "I'm in the park, near the square." I saw everything," I replied, my voice trembling. What happened? You look terrible. I'm coming over, she replied quickly. As I waited, the pain transformed into anger. I was not only being betrayed by Emily but also by Ryan, someone I had considered a friend. The betrayal of a friend was a knife to the heart, and the idea of confronting him consumed me. When Sarah arrived, she immediately sensed that something was very wrong. She sat down next to me, looking at me with concern. Jake, what happened? You look pale, she said, placing her hand on my shoulder. I saw Emily and Ryan together. They were at the restaurant, Sarah. They were close to each other, and my voice faltered, and tears began to slip down again. Oh, Jake, she said, looking into my eyes. That's awful. You need to talk to them. I can't, I replied, feeling the pain burning at the back of my throat. How can I confront someone I loved and someone I called a friend? I know it's hard, but you need to do it. You deserve to know the truth. You can't let this go. Sarah insisted. Her words echoed in my mind. She was right, but the thought of confronting Ryan paralyzed me. What would I do when I was face to face with him? How would I handle the pain and the betrayal? I don't know if I can, I murmured, feeling the internal struggle within me. You are stronger than you think, Jake. And I will be by your side, she said, holding my hand. That gave me a bit of courage, but the anguish was still present. What would I do next? What would I say? The future seemed uncertain and frightening, but one thing was clear. I needed to face this reality, no matter how painful it was. The soccer game was full of energy. The sun shone brightly in the sky, and the smell of fresh grass mixed with the shouts of the fans. I was there, surrounded by friends, trying to lose myself in the excitement of the game. But deep down, a storm was brewing inside me. With every play, every cheer, I thought of Emily, of Ryan, and the betrayal that still consumed me. When I saw Ryan on the field, my heart raced. He was laughing and joking with the other players, completely unaware of my pain. Anger began to bubble up inside me. He was my best friend, but now, every smile of his felt like a slap in the face. I took a deep breath, trying to control myself, but the tension became unbearable. Hey, Jake, come cheer with us, shouted a friend, but I barely heard him. The only thing I could see was Ryan, and the image of him wrapping his arms around Emily, as if nothing was happening, as if he hadn't betrayed me. I decided I could no longer bear it. With my heart racing, I headed toward the field. The adrenaline surged with every step, and as I approached, I realized I was about to do something that could change everything. Ryan, I called, ignoring what the others were thinking. He turned, surprised, and I saw a flicker of confusion on his face. Jake? What's wrong? Can we talk? I asked, trying to contain the anger in my voice. He hesitated, but eventually agreed. Sure, just a minute, he replied, gesturing to the other players. He stepped away from the field, and I followed him, feeling the curious gazes of friends on my back. We walked a bit away until the commotion of the game faded into the background. The air was heavy, and for a moment, only the sound of our footsteps could be heard. What's up, Jake? What's going on? Ryan asked, trying to maintain a nonchalant expression, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. You know very well what's going on, I said, my voice trembling with anger. I saw you with Emily. I saw how you act together. He frowned. You're exaggerating. We're just friends. There's nothing between us. I felt a knot forming in my throat. Friends? Friends don't meet in secret, Ryan. I'm not an idiot. I saw you at the restaurant, and now you want to tell me nothing is happening? His expression changed. For a moment, I saw a flicker of guilt, but it was quickly replaced by his usual defensiveness. Jake, you can't just jump to conclusions like that. You're being irrational. Irrational? I shouted, drawing glances from some of the other players. I'm irrational. You're the one betraying my trust. You and Emily. At that moment, his mask began to crack. Look, I didn't want you to find out like this. I didn't know you were still so involved with her. I'm not involved, Ryan. I'm being deceived. Do you think this is easy for me? I trusted you, and you betrayed me behind my back. He tried to wriggle out, but the anger inside me wouldn't let me. You can't just hide behind excuses. You know what's happening between you two. And if you still care about me, you need to be honest. It's not that simple, Jake, he replied, his eyes filled with frustration. Emily and we were just having fun. It wasn't supposed to be serious. Having fun? Is that what you call friendship? And if you think this isn't serious, maybe you should think more about your life, I said, the words coming out sharper than I intended. He looked at me, a mix of anger and sadness on his face. You don't understand. I'm not the villain in this story. It's not just about you and Emily. Sometimes things happen, and we can't control it. Can't control? You had control when you decided to betray me. You made a choice, Ryan. Don't come tell me you didn't have control over this. I shot back, feeling frustration boil over. He turned his face, as if trying to find the right words, but nothing seemed to come. The silence stretched between us, and the intensity of our conversation began to weigh heavily. I don't know what else you want from me, he finally said. I'm sorry, but I can't fix this. Fix? Do you think an apology will change anything? You broke our friendship, Ryan. And worse, you destroyed the trust one had in you. Now I don't even know who you really are, I said, my voice choking. He looked down, as if he were contemplating every word I said. If I had known you were so involved, I wouldn't have, he hesitated. I wouldn't have let things get to this point. So you knew it was wrong and still did it? That's not friendship, Ryan. That's betrayal. The anger overflowed in me. I wanted to scream, cry, or do anything that would release the pain consuming me. But instead, I just looked at him, trying to understand how we had gotten to this point. Maybe you should talk to Emily, he suggested, as if trying to divert the conversation. She can explain better. Talk to Emily? I laughed, a humorless laugh. She already had the chance to be honest, and the only thing she did was lie. I don't know if I can face you or her again. Ryan stepped forward, as if he wanted to reach out to me. Jake, listen. The friendship we have, it means something to me. I didn't want things to end up like this. I will talk to her. Talk to her? What do you expect that to solve? The only thing I want is distance, I said, feeling the pain and betrayal suffocating me. He stepped back, looking defeated. I just wanted you to understand. Understand what? That you're not my friend? That you're capable of betraying me? I couldn't control myself any longer. What I felt was a mix of pain and betrayal that blinded me. Jake, I didn't want all of this to happen, he said, his voice lower now, almost pleading. Well, it happened. You and Emily are together, and I'm the idiot who was fooled. That's all I need to know, I replied, and as soon as the words left my mouth, I turned and walked away, leaving Ryan behind. As I walked, the adrenaline began to cool, but the pain in my heart only grew. The truth I had uncovered loomed over me like a shadow, following me with every step. And even though I had confronted Ryan, the feeling of betrayal still weighed on me like an anchor. The truth was that, no matter what Ryan said, I felt alone. The friendship I once considered unbreakable was now in ruins, and all that remained was the sadness of losing not only a girlfriend, but also a friend. What hurt the most was knowing that they both had chosen this path. If I could turn back time, I would do everything differently. But what was left now was the echo of betrayal and the emptiness forming inside me as I walked, not knowing where to go. The aroma of fresh coffee and the soft noise of conversations surrounded me as I waited for Emily and Ryan at the small town cafe. The place that used to be our refuge now felt like a battlefield. My heart raced unevenly in my chest, and each beat echoed in my mind, reminding me of what was at stake. I had prepared for this moment, but anxiety consumed me. The tables were cozily arranged, but I couldn't focus on anything but the door. The clock on the wall seemed to be in a different rhythm, as if mocking my anguish. My fingers tapped nervously on the wooden table, while the soft light of the cafe illuminated the shadows under my eyes. Finally, the door opened and I saw Emily enter, with Ryan by her side. The shadows of betrayal seemed to hang over them, and I felt a wave of anger and sadness wash over me. "Jake!" Emily waved. Her forced smile no longer fooled me. Ryan followed her, his expression a mask of indifference, as if nothing was happening. They approached my table, and I forced myself to keep a neutral expression. "Hey, Jake. Sorry for the delay," Emily said, sitting down across from me.
Ryan settled beside her, and the tension in there was palpable. No problem he replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "We need to talk." "About what?" Ryan asked, his eyes diverting from me. He was clearly nervous, but trying to maintain composure. "About us, Said, it word vague like lead. About the betrayal." The silence that followed was deafening. Emily bit her lower lip, her eyes filling with tears, and Ryan looked away, as if he wanted to hide from the truth that was about to be revealed. "Jake," Emily started, but he interrupted her. "Don't come to me with excuses. You know what's going on. Someone told me about you and Ryan." My voice came out louder than intended, drawing curious glances from other customers. "That's not true," she exclaimed, but the hesitation in her voice betrayed her response. "How could you do this to me?" he asked, feeling the pain transforming into controlled anger. "I trusted you, Emily. I never imagined you would be capable of betraying me with my best friend." Ryan seemed to lose color in his face. He was trying to stay calm, but his hands trembled slightly in his lap. "Jake, I don't know what you're talking about. It's not what you think." "Then tell me what I'm thinking, Ryan. Because I saw you two together." Anger boiled inside me, and I felt the urge to get up and leave, but something kept me there, tied to the conversation that needed to happen. "It was a mistake," Emily whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't want this to happen. I love you, Jake." "Loving is just a word you say when it suits you," he replied, my voice shocked. "If you love me, why did you do this? Why did you betray our trust?" I don't know. "I got lost," Emily admitted, her voice trembling. "Ryan gave me attention. I was confused, and that doesn't justify it, you know. But I didn't want to hurt you. And you think that changes anything?" I said, the sharp pain in my chest almost unbearable. "You hurt me in a way I never thought possible. How can I trust you again?" Ryan finally spoke up, his voice low and shaky. "Jake, I'm really sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I didn't know it was serious between you two. But you knew. You knew and still let yourself get carried away." My voice rose, and the indignation turned into a scream. "You took advantage of the situation, Ryan." "I didn't take advantage of anything," he replied, now defensive. "It was a mistake. A moment of weakness." "Weakness? Is that what you call weakness? Betraying a friend and the person you love?" I leaned forward, the anger pulsing in my veins. "You don't know what loyalty is." The conversation took a dark turn, and the cafe around us seemed to disappear. Time stopped, and all I could see was betrayal and pain. Emily was in tears, and Ryan looked on the verge of a nervous breakdown. The truth was slowly emerging, but there was still a part of me that wanted to believe there was an explanation. "So, is that it?" I asked, my voice calmer but still filled with pain. "How long have you been together?" Emily hesitated, and Ryan looked away. The silence dragged on, and my heart sank even further. Jake please Emily began, but interrupted her again. No, tell me the truth. Before I decide I don't want to hear anything else. Before you make me feel a little more hope that you might be the same person I loved. It was months ago, Ryan finally confessed, his voice low and filled with remorse. We met a few times. It was the planned. It all happened very quickly. Months. He repeated, the pain transforming into a knot in my throat. And you thought it was right to hide this from me? To let me live in ignorance while I trusted you? Emily, now with her face completely wet from tears, looked at me in desperation. Jake, I'm so sorry. I didn't want this to happen. If I could turn back time, you would do everything differently. But you can't, I said, frustration consuming me. And now here we are, destroyed by your choices. I loved you both, and now I only feel betrayal. The conversation unfolded like a nightmare from which I wanted to wake. The vision of the future I had, the love I believed was true, was now crumbling before my eyes. I didn't know what to do, how to move forward. A part of me wanted to scream, the other just wanted to run away. Jake, please don't leave me, Emily pleaded, reaching out her hand toward me. But the gesture provoked nothing more than emptiness within me. I need some time, I said, rising from my chair. I can't do this right now. I can't stay here listening to excuses. I left the cafe, the door closing behind me with a snap that echoed in my heart. The chill of the autumn air hit me, but it was nothing compared to the cold that settled inside me. I walked away, leaving behind not just the cafe, but also what remained of my world. The pain still throbbed in my chest like an open bleeding wound. I had lost two people I deeply loved, and the betrayal from Ryan and Emily left me devastated. The weeks following the revelation were a whirlwind of emotions. I didn't want to let myself be consumed by anger, but every time I remembered what had happened, the indignation came back with full force. I decided I needed to distance myself from it all. The first step was to focus on work. The job at the bike shop, which had once been just a way to make a living, had now become my refuge. I threw myself into tasks, organizing the shelves, helping customers, and even fixing bikes that had been serviced in months. It was a way to distract myself, to try to get my mind in order. One afternoon, as I was sorting through a new shipment of bikes, Sarah walked through the shop door, with a radiant smile and contagious energy. It was good to see her. She had always been a loyal friend, and her support had been crucial during the darkest times. Hey, Jake. How are you? She asked as she helped me unload the boxes. I'm trying to move on, he replied, forcing a smile. Work has kept me busy. She studied me for a moment, as if trying to read my soul. You know you can call on me, right? If you need to talk or anything. You know, Sarah. Thank you, I said, a bit surprised by the intensity of her gaze. There was a connection between us that seemed to be growing, but I still felt insecure about exploring it in the following days. Sarah and I started meeting more often. Sometimes she would stop by the shop just to keep me company or help me organize the repair area. Other times, we would go out for coffee or take walks in the park. The conversations flowed naturally, and I realized I was beginning to open up to her in a way yet before. Jake, you never told me what you really want for the future, she said one afternoon, while we were sitting on a park bench. The sun was setting, painting the sky a vibrant orange that reflected off the leaves of the trees. Do you still dream of traveling? Doing something big? I took a deep breath, considering her words. I used to dream about all that. But now I just want to find a little peace. Life felt so complicated sometimes. That's true, she agreed. But you don't have to give up on your dreams because of what happened. Sometimes bad things show us what we really want. The way she spoke touched something inside me. Sarah was practical but also a dreamer. I felt that she genuinely cared about what I had to say. You're right. I just need some time to help. And who knows, maybe one day I can find those dreams again. Time passed, and the void in my heart began to heal, though the scar was still visible. Sarah became a constant presence in my life, and as the weeks went by, I realized I was falling for her but at the same time, the anxiety of opening up again paralyzed me. I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes of the past one night. I was invited to a party at a friend's house. At first I hesitated. The last thing I wanted was to see Emily and Ryan together again. But at the same time, I knew I needed to face my fears. When I arrived at the party, the music was loud and laughter swelled through the air, creating a vibrant atmosphere. Soon, I spotted Sarah across the room. She waved at me, and my heart raced. I walked over to her, and the conversation flowed as if the rest of the world had disappeared. Are you having fun? I asked, trying to ignore the apprehension growing in my stomach. More than you can imagine. It's nice to see people smiling, she replied, her eyes sparkling. And you? How are you feeling? Better. One day at a team, I confessed, looking into her eyes. It was then I realized that things could be different. I could open up to her, I could try again. But before I could formulate the words, I saw movement in the crowd and, amid the laughter, spotted Emily and Ryan chatting animated, as if nothing had happened. The sight hit me like a punch in the gut. Jake, are you okay? Sarah asked, interrupting my thoughts. I need a moment, I replied, stepping away quickly. The emotions were overwhelming, and I needed time to process everything. I went to the backyard, where the cool night breeze wrapped around me like a hug. I looked up at the stars, trying to find some answer. The pain was sharp, but I could not let it bring me down. If I wanted to move forward, I needed to face this. I took a deep breath, and after a few minutes, I decided to go back to the party. As I entered, I saw Sarah just a few steps away. She was talking to a group of friends, but her eyes met mine, and she smiled. That smile gave me courage. The music changed, and the lights blinked incessantly. I knew I needed to talk to Sarah about how I was feeling. I could not let the past stop me from building something new. When I finally managed to approach her, I felt my heart race. Sarah, can we talk for a minute? I asked, trying to sound calm. Sure, Jake. What happened? She replied, concerned. I wanted to say that I'm grateful to have you in my life. You've been an amazing friend, and I feel like you want more than that. I want to try something between us, I declared, nerves consuming me. She looked at me, surprised, but sua genuine smile lit up her face. Jake, I feel that too. I just didn't know if you had. An immense relief washed over me. I knew that the past was still with me, but with Sarah by my side, I felt like I could face anything. The party continued around us, but in that moment, all that mattered was the two of us. Shall we take it one step at a time? I suggested, holding her hand. Yes, one step at a time, she agreed, and the connection between us grew stronger. As I looked into her eyes, I realized that the voids of the past could finally begin to heal. I was ready to leave the pain behind and embrace the possibility of a future filled with love and new experiences. I was sitting at my desk, surrounded by papers and notes about Ryan. Anger, altogether-draining emotion, drove me. What I had discovered about him was not just rumors. There was a pattern of betrayals that spanned several previous relationships. Each time I read the accounts of other victims, I felt a mix of pity and determination. I was not the only one suffering because of Ryan, and now I had the chance to expose his true nature. The first person I reached out to was Laura, a former girlfriend of Ryan. We met at a discreet cafe, and I invited her as she shared her story. She was a strong woman, but there was a fragility in her eyes that she could not hide. He promised me the world, Jake. But all he did was leave me in the mood, she said, her voice trembling. By the time I realized he was seeing someone else, it was too late. He had manipulated me for months. I know how you feel, I replied, trying to convey solidarity. He cheated on me too. And now, you want him to pay for it? Laura nodded, determination beginning to shine in her eyes. If you're willing to expose him, I'm with you. We can't let him keep doing this to others. In the following days, e began to gather a small group. It new story hard reinforced the gravity of the situation. There was Sarah who had been saved by Ryan under the pretense of a serious relationship, and Marcus, a friend who had lost a girlfriend because of Ryan's lies. Together, we formed a support network. We were the voices he had silenced, and now we were ready to rise up. We need to be strategic, he said at a meeting in my office. If we go public, we need to have proof. And we need people to believe us, we have to organize them. Create a schedule of testimonies, Sarah suggested, cite. If we go to a community meeting, we can unite and expose the truth to everyone. That way, no one else will be deceived. The idea of exposing Ryan in a public space made me nervous, but at the same time, there was a growing relief. The feeling that the truth would finally be revealed gave me strength. We began meeting regularly, sharing details and preparing our testimonies. Each meeting was a mix of emotion and determination. I felt that alongside them, my pain was turning into power. Finally, the day of the community meeting arrived. The venue was filled with people, and my heart raced. I looked at the familiar and unfamiliar faces, all gathered to discuss matters that seemingly had nothing to do with my plan. But I knew that soon, everything would change. Jake, are you ready? Laura asked beside me. She was nervous, but there was a spark of courage in her eyes. Yes, he replied, taking a deep breath. It is now or never. When the moment came, I stood up. The room fell silent as he began to speak. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jake, and I'm here to share a story that might change the way you see some people in our community. I felt the eyes turn towards me. Emily was in the audience, her face pale and confused. Ryan, on the other hand, seemed relaxed, as if he had no idea what was about to happen. He was in a relationship with Emily, which was actually a facade for what was happening in the shadows. Murmurs began to spread through the room, and he continued. The betrayal we suffered was not an isolated incident. Ryan, my best friend, has a history of manipulation and betrayal. If not the only victim, others have also suffered because of his lies, and today I here to make sure this doesn't happen again. Sarah Soto depende join me. I am one of Ryan's victims. He made me believe we were special, but it was all a facade. We need to unite and create a safe space where we can all tell our stories. The tension in the room increased. Ryan stood up, trying to interrupt, but I vowed to let him. You can no longer read the truth, Ryan. People have the right to know who you really are. The atmosphere in the room shifted. Some people began to murmur among themselves, while others looked shocked by the revelations. Ryan was visibly nervous now, and his forced smile disappeared. This is slander. He never did this. He shouted, but the clarity in the voices of the other victims echoed louder. He continued, undeterred. We have evidence. Messages, testimonies, everything documented. This is not a matter of opinion but of facts. You need to be held accountable for your actions. The room was in a frenzy. People began to stand up, some applauding, while others expressed outrage. Emily was standing, her face pale. Jake, I didn't know. I didn't know he was like this. You believed his lies, Emily. We all did, he replied, anger mixing with sadness. But now we need to face the truth. The climax of the meeting brought an unexpected relief. I was surrounded by those who had united with me, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free. The pain of betrayal was beginning to dissipate, and instead, there was a sense of justice in the air. Ryan, realizing that his manipulation had come to an end, tried to evade the situation. But it was too late. He was exposed, and there was no turning back. The truth had been revealed, and with it, the strength he had found alongside the victims of his betrayals made me realize that he was no longer a victim, but a survivor. In that moment, as the applause echoed and the truth spread, I looked to the future. The freedom we sought was not just in exposing Ryan, but in the certainty that he could move on. Life was waiting for me, filled with new opportunities and new beginnings. And so, surrounded by new friends and the strength he had found, I finally felt ready to leave the shadows of the past behind.